Namaskar and a very warm welcome to yet another beautiful episode of Impact Leaders Simply with Suparnaa. We're getting numerous amounts of requests to be featured on this interaction, and our only very humble submission is that this is dedicated to Sabera awardees in case you are doing good work in alignment with sustainability, sustainable development goals, your organization is in principle aligned to the ESG principles, and maybe even you, if you are an individual change maker, we'd love for you to submit your work through the Sabera Awards. There's a very credible jury that assesses the work submitted and acknowledges good work happening across the country, and that automatically qualifies for you to be interviewed through this interaction. I have a very, very special guest here today. I'm personally very thrilled and very excited to have this opportunity to interact with her. She is somebody who's actually revolutionized organ donation in the country. She started with eye donation, and there's a lot of richness in her journey. And we'll hear it straight from her. And before I formally introduce her to you, I'd like to start by paying my obeisance to the higher power, to Shakti. Shakti has held me in good stead, and this is a very old Sanskrit verse that I am reciting. या कुंदेन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्र वस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदंड मंडितकरा या श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्मचित्त शंकर प्रभूतिभि दैवै सदा वंदिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निशेष जाड्यपहा। एक संस्कृत का स्तोत्र है जिसका एसेंशियली जो मूल ज्ञान है वो ये है कि हमारे जो हृदय में अंधकार है, द डार्कनेस इन आवर हार्ट्स through ignorance can be brightened by the knowledge or by the wisdom of knowledge. On that very positive note, I'd like to welcome my very special guest, Mrs. Lalitha Raghuram, Country Director of Mohan Foundation, who has had an incredible journey, and we are going to be witnessing, sharing all her life's experience and learnings. She has over 4 decades of experience. And despite a personal tragedy in 2004, she chose to donate the organs of her son, who she lost in a car accident. And this actually sparked a ripple of positivity in the world of organ donation. And actually, also, a film has been made on this. We'll talk about this and much more. But first, let me welcome you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Raghuram, for taking the time and for being who you are.
Thank you. Thank you, Suparnaa. Thank you for the opportunity, and please call me Lalitha. I love the sloka that you said. I mean, Lord Saraswati, may Lord Shakti,
Yes.
care
Shakti
of us.
has
And
been good. Yes.
yes.
I would love to call you Lalita Ji, but that reminds me of the surf advertisement. So I'm going to change the G and I'm going to address you as Lalita. I hope that's fine with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Lalita, while I've introduced you to our viewers, but I'd like to know a little bit about your journey when you started out. What were your influences? What kind of a household were you brought up in? What did your father do? What did your mother do?
Ah, those are beautiful memories. My father was working in Brook Bonds. I belong to a simple, traditional, middle class family, and born in a family of 6 children. I'm the fifth child. And my mother was a homemaker, but both of them have had an amazing influence on me. I can never, forget what they have done for me. My father is one who used to say that both boys and girls have to be educated equally. So I went to the best of school, St. Francis School here. Although my father couldn't afford the fees, he used to say, no, I want to give you the best of education. And the second thing that he always used to say is, study as much as you can, as you want. Because, if I give you property can be stolen or you will spend it away. But this knowledge is something education is going to keep you in good stead. Nobody can say it. We don't know how our personal lives will be, how our husbands will be. But, this education is the one that is going to take us through in our lives. So he said, study as much as you can. And I can't thank him enough for all that he has given. And that's how, I could get into social work. I could do hospital management. I also had I did a postgraduate diploma in community eye health. And all of this has been possible because of that one thing that my father instilled in me, good education. This is something nobody can steal. And
You know
that is,
what? This is something that resonates so deeply within me also, because even when I didn't recognize that what my mother was saying is so important, but I still remember her telling me that knowledge is the only one thing that nobody can actually steal with from you.
absolutely
And
so
that's
true.
exactly what your father had said to you. So I guess
Yes,
we've had some very positive influences in our lives to be able to do what we are
yes,
doing here today.
absolutely.
Um,
Yes.
and when we speak about education, what was your educational background?
So I have a social work background and also a hospital management. And I I started my career as an associate administrator at LV Prasad Eye Institute. It's the Center of Excellence in Eye Care. And I started my career there, and I used to see a lot of patients there. They used to come from all over the country, and particularly for corneal transplants from, in the eastern part of the country, from Midnapur, from Shantiniketan. A lot of them had corneal problems, and they used to come
And
for
this was in
treatment.
Hyderabad. This
This
was
is
in
in
Hyderabad.
Hyderabad. This is in Hyderabad. And when they came for corneal transplant, the doctor used to see them and say, advised a corneal transplant. And the file would come to me, and because I was in charge of patient care. The file would come to me, and the patients would come and ask me, Madam, hamare surgery kab hoga? But corneal transplant is dependent on the availability of a donor cornea. That is, the donor cornea is available through eye donation. Somebody saying yes to eye donation when the family says, when they have lost their loved one and they say yes to eye donation, that is how they are able to receive the cornea. So when you receive the whole eye, the cornea is excised and used for transplant. But at that time, eye donation was very uncommon. At that time, we had only one eye donation every year. This was, I'm talking about 1989. So people used to come and wait for corneal transplant, and we would say, please have your breakfast at 7 o'clock, wait until 2 o'clock, so that in the meantime, if there are any eyes available, somebody donates eyes, or it comes from, Gujarat used to have a good eye donation. So they used to send corneas by Indian Airlines cargo. So we would wait for those corneas, and if they are good, they used to be used for transplant. But can you imagine, Suparna, these patients used to wait for nothing less than 6 months to a year in expectation of a donor cornea. That was the situation in eye donation. So people had to wait for a corneal transplant. But
And
now,
one cornea in the entire year.
yes, yes. With
And
one
as
cornea in
you,
the entire year, now it has grown to 5,000 corneas in the whole year.
but
One eye patch.
that hasn't happened on its own. You have been very instrumental in making that happen. And I want to ask you, how did Aishwarya Rai come into this whole picture of eye donation? Because I myself remember very clearly that there was this whole thing about eye donation at that point in time. It almost became like, you're carrying a medal for yourself, that if you've signed up, and there's Aishwarya Rai who's doing this. So it
Correct. Yeah.
completely changed the perceptions. How did
Yes.
you manage to do that?
So this was 1993, and I think it was 1993. I can't remember clearly, but Miss World, Aishwarya Rai won the Miss World crown. And when I saw her, she has this beautiful green eyes. I said, this girl has to endorse for eye donation. Somehow I have to get her. And we wrote to her, and fortunately, her father responded. Can you believe this? He said,
Wow.
"We'd like to meet you." So I went and met her father, and he asked us several questions. One thing he asked is, "Are you a national organization?" So I said, "iBank Association of India is an umbrella body of all iBanks in the country. So we are the only national body." And then he said, "I would like Aishwarya to pledge her eyes. Really, please give me the donor card, the pledge form." So I carried the pledge form. She signed it before, even endorsing it. She said, "I don't want anyone to ask you, has she really pledged for eye donation?" So she signed it also. And then, Ogilvy and Mather did the scripting and the film. And the script is also so beautiful, Suparna. It says, Aishwarya says, in a beauty contest, a lot of them are asked different questions. But if I were asked how I would like to leave my eyes, I would say I would leave my eyes with an eye bank. So if you would like to donate your eyes and leave your eyes with an eye bank, write to me at the Eye Bank Association of India, PO Box 1403, Hyderabad 5 lakhs 29. So everyone that saw the film, it was televised on the Star Plus, on Doordarshan. Oh my God, I can't believe, I got a call from the post office saying that please bring a big gunny bag, cement bag. We've got about 1,000 letters, they said. Oh my God, I was shocked. Every single day we used to get thousands of letters, and every letter used to be addressed to Aishwarya Rai. People thought, Aishwarya reads their letters because she said, "Write to me at the Eye Bank Association of India." And that was beautiful. That was a coup, major coup. And people from all over the country responded so well. And, the awareness about eye donation picked up. Simultaneously, we also started something called HCRP.
Hmm.
HCRP means Hospital Cornea Retrieval Program. So, on one hand, Suparna, people get to know about eye donation. But imagine when a death happens in the hospital, nobody thinks about eye donation. They are all so much in grief. They forget about what to do next. They'll only think about hospital bills, who should be informed, what funeral arrangements to, take care. These are the things that play high on their mind. So we started this HCRP where we posted a grief counselor in the hospital. And this counselor, as soon as a death occurred, either in the ICU or in the ward, would give the family about half an hour to grieve, and then go and talk to the family and motivate them to donate their loved ones' eyes. With that, initially the success was about 25 to 30%. But over a period of time, it grew to 80%. That is, 8 out of 10 families said yes to eye donation. So that, prompt reminder helped a lot. So this gave us access to healthy corneas, because in the hospital, it is the young people who die. Whereas in homes, old people die. We don't know what the cause of death is. In the hospitals, we know the cause of death. So it was, hospital cornea retrieval program, and one on the other side, public education. All of this increased the cornea collection, several folds. And now we have 55,000 eyes donated annually. From 1989, you can see
55,000 eyes
eyes.
donated
And
annually.
Telangana is leading. Yes, Telangana is leading in eye donations.
From one
Telangana, Tamil Nadu, yes.
from 1 to
Yes.
55,000, and the person
All
behind
over the
that
country.
is Mrs. Lalita Raghuram. Thank you so much for
This is
doing
team
what you are.
effort. This is team effort, Suparna. I can't take the credit for everything, but God has been kind, and maybe I acted as a small catalyst in making this happen. Yes, because
How did
one
home?
donor can give sight to two people. Imagine, instead of just burning or burying the body, two people can see this world through one small act of saying yes. Imagine the power of yes here. That's
So,
what
which
I did.
also means while you're making it sound simple, it also means that the counselors need to be present in maximum number of hospitals. They should be well
Yes.
trained in grief counseling,
Counseling.
in
Yes.
holding the
Yes.
hands of because it's a very, very
Absolutely.
difficult time.
Yes. Yes. We train them in grief counseling. We also train them, give them adequate knowledge on the legal, clinical, and the social aspects. So all of this training is provided to the grief councils, and only then they are put in these hospitals. So we identify hospitals where the mortality rate is high. And there we have found, we enter into a MOU with those hospitals, and they allow the grief counselors to be posted within the hospital around the clock. So that is how eye donation has happened all over the country.
Now let's move on to the next phase of your life,
Yeah.
which is moving beyond just cornea donation,
Yeah.
which went into organ donation.
Organ
How
donation.
did that
Yes.
happen?
So, I felt that there was something more. I worked for iBank Association of India for 10 years. And I felt that, I could do more because one day I saw in Hindu that there was this hospital in Hyderabad that is going to start liver transplant program. So where will they get the liver? Obviously, somebody has to donate a liver. Only then a person can undergo a liver transplant. So
Right.
that is when I went to this hospital chairman, Dr. Ravindranath of Global Hospital, and I said, I'd like to work on organ donation. I have this experience in eye donation. Can I can we work on organ donation? And he welcomed it. And then I met Dr. Sunil Shroff in Chennai, who was already running Mohan Foundation. He's the founder of Mohan Foundation. So, along with Dr. Ravindranath and another gentleman who was the director of NIMS at that time, Dr. Kakarla Subbarao, as trustees, we started Mohan Foundation in Hyderabad in November 2001. So, that is how the birth of another office of Mohan Foundation happened in Hyderabad.
Yes,
And
Dr. Sunil Shroff has also been recognized by Sabera
yes,
he's been bestowed with the Lifetime Achievement Award.
yes, yes,
Again, a
yes,
very inspiring personality. And
yes,
Lalita, you went through a terrible personal tragedy, and if
yeah.
you allow me to speak about it, what happened?
So, Suparna, I have two children. My son, his name is Swaminarayan. My son was born on 13th January 1985. If he was alive, he would be 39. And my daughter was born on 13th January 1990, exactly 5 years apart. So, my friends used to tease me, how did you manage this 5 years, exact 5 years? So, when we celebrate their birthday, also, my daughter loves chocolate cake, and this fellow likes butterscotch. So, we always used to cut two cakes, both of their birthdays on the same day. So, on 13th January 2004, my father had a myocardial infarction in the morning. So I had to go to him and take him to the hospital and get him admitted in the ICU. So I got him admitted and came back home. And then that night, my daughter went out, to a close by restaurant. She was in 10th class. So she came back by 8:30 or so. But my son, he was doing second year engineering in SRM College, Chennai. So he came for Pongal vacation. 14th January is Sankranti or Pongal, as you know. So 13th January is their birthday. So he said that he came to Hyderabad for vacation, and when I said that he's going out with his friends, he was going to his friend's farmhouse to celebrate his birthday and also watch cricket there overnight, and said, I will come back in the morning, mummy, he said. I said, okay, but be careful. And I also said, Tata means grandfather. Tata is in the hospital. Tomorrow morning, you have to come and take care of him in the ICU. So he said, no problem, I'll come back in the morning. So he, along with three of his friends, went to Ibrahimpatnam, which is outskirts of Hyderabad, where the friends' farmhouse is. So while they went there, and while coming back in the early morning of 14th, they met with an accident. So the boy that was driving and my son was very tall. He was 6'1". So they were sitting in the front, and two boys were sitting at the back. And at that time, the Krishna water pipelines were being laid. And this car went and fell into the ditch. And both the boys that were in the front had severe head injury. And they were probably, I don't know how long they were lying there. The milk van was passing by around 4 o'clock or something. And the van driver stopped and rescued these boys. But by then, my son and the boy who was driving, both of them were unconscious. So both these boys were taken to Kamineni Hospital in LB Nagar here in Hyderabad. By then, I got a call at 5:30 saying that, is Swami's dad there? Swami's dad there. My son's name is Swaminarayan. So I said, Swami's dad is not here. My husband was working in Pune at that time. So I said, tell me what's happening. So he said, Swami met with a small accident. Please come to Kamineni Hospital immediately. So I said, what happened? He said, nothing, nothing. Please come to the hospital immediately. So what I did is I went along with my daughter and my mother-in-law immediately to Kamineni Hospital. And in the emergency, my son was lying unconscious. And he was wearing a branded watch that was gone. And in the wallet also, there was nothing. There was one tulsi mala that was wearing that was there. And they immediately put him on the ventilator. They took him to the ICU and put him on the ventilator. By the evening, Suparnaa, I knew what was happening with him. Because I have seen so many cases that progress to brain death. And I called my husband. I told him everything. Suparnaa, you won't believe, there were at least about 300 to 400 people from the hospital circle. All of them came to see my son. And they cordoned off the entire ICU for these two boys alone. Nobody else were there. And then there were intensivists who I knew because of the work that I do. All of them came and they took care. The hospital allowed those intensivists to take care of my son. But all of that didn't help. On the evening of 15th January, my son was declared brain dead. And a lot of doctors, nephrologists, intensivists that were taking care of him, all of them also said, Lalitha, just because you're working in organ donation and just because, your son has become brain dead, don't be compelled to donate organs, they said. So I said, no. This is not, a 9-to-5 job. I look at this as a 9-to-5 job. I believed in this cause. I believed that, I'm making a difference. So we consented to donate all his organs. So his eyes, his kidneys and liver were donated, thereby giving a new lease of life to 5 people. A lot of them said, you don't need to donate, it's okay. On that day, I realized one thing, Suparnaa. I used to counsel the families for organ donation. And I always used to say, I can understand what you are going through. On that moment, I realized I was faking. I didn't know what they were going through. Only now I was going through what people, I realized what people go through. So
this has been a really, really tough journey for sure, but there is something so beautiful which has come out of it. I mean, you have actually given a lease of life and hope to so many families, and not just through Swami, but through so many other procedures that have happened after that. And I think
I only had two options, Suparna, either to cry and just, not want to do anything in life. The second one is to simply move on and carry on with the courage to make a difference for the others. So I just chose the latter
and we
because,
salute you.
thank you. So I just stayed home for 13 days. Once all the rituals were done, I just decided I'm not going to look back. Just move forward. That was my mantra in life. Just move forward. Don't think about anything. So that is how I have been.
Again, I'm saying thank you for being who you are. And
Thank you.
thank you for giving life and hope to so many families and so many individuals
Well, we took, my
across.
husband and I just took it upon ourselves and said, we are not faking. We've done it ourselves. Because people, there is still the taboo that, they may sell organs, etc. So I always think probably, Swami was born with a purpose, and this is the purpose. He has strengthened our hands and made this movement possible.
It's so important that as many people as possible can hear this, because I think a lot of times in our own lives when we're struggling with different kind of issues, and all of us are as
Yeah.
human beings, sometimes we tend to get into this victim mode and never want to get out of it, and get into
Yes.
depression and get into a lot of negative energies. But
Correct.
I guess problems, and I see this in a lot of people who Sabera has acknowledged, that they come from personal afflictions of tragedies, and they've utilized that into creating a better world for other people who may be going through a similar kind of a thing. I
Yeah.
think that is extremely important for anybody and everybody, to learn from your journey. And how did the movie come about?
Ah. A Zindagi is a wonderful movie. Um, there is this Dr. Anirban Bose. He's a nephrologist at the University of Rochester Medical Center. Anirban is also the president of Mohan USA. So he came to me, he visited us in Hyderabad, and he interviewed me. He heard my story because Anirban is an author of several books also. He heard my story and then he went back to Chicago and also interviewed Love Dodi. Love is the one that received my son's liver. Love's story is also amazing, Suparna. Love was working in Tata Consulting and he had liver cirrhosis. He's a boy from Gwalior. He was only 23 or something when he had liver cirrhosis. He and his twin brother Kush came to Hyderabad and they were advised, he was advised liver transplant. And he was waiting for a liver, didn't get liver on time. And I didn't even realize that my own son's liver will be used for Love. And Love received the liver and he was doing well. There is this girl, her name is Mridula. She's an ICU nurse. So she was the one, Mridula is the one that was taking care of Love in the liver ICU. So Love fell in love with Mridula and
Really?
got married. Yes.
Wow.
So I keep saying love happened in liver ICU. So Love married Mridula and he moved to Chicago. He's a SAP consultant there. And Love has two beautiful children, daughters now.
Oh,
Yeah.
how beautiful. What an interesting story, and how life moves on.
Yes. Yes.
How it comes a
And
full circle.
correct. And Anirban went and interviewed Love also, and he wrote this story called the Love Story. He gave this beautiful name for the story, Love Story, LUV Love, and he wanted to publish it in New York Times. And it went back and forth because of word counts, etc. And finally, he decided, I'm going to make a movie with this. So he also took training in direction at the University of Rochester itself. And then he made this movie called A Zindagi.
Hmm.
And the South Indian actress Revati Menon played my role as the grief counselor. And it's a beautiful movie. And it will be on OTT very soon on Z5. Please do watch. All the viewers, I think you should definitely watch this. It's a story of hope, love, courage, so many good things.
It's
And
your story. That's what it is.
so, uh, I mean, it's beautiful. I can say that, like you mentioned, Suparna, that we can cry, we can say, why me, etc. But imagine there is so much beautiful, so much things that you can do if you just look at the brighter side. Show me a person who doesn't have a problem. All of
Yes,
us have some problem or the other. But if you look
yes,
at the brighter side, there is so much to accomplish in life.
yes, yes. Which brings me to now, the next and wrap up with this. How is it that, anybody who may be watching this now or in the near future, or maybe even a couple of years down the line, how can they associate themselves with Mohan Foundation or what you're doing? Because I know even through the Sabera Awards, we had a lot of people, connect as to how is it that we can get connected. In fact, just a couple of days back, I had a request from somebody
Hmm.
wanting to know about the procedure. So, how does one go about it? What are the ways in which people can connect? Are there
Yes,
volunteering opportunities available? Funding opportunities, obviously, and
yes,
and pledging their own organs
yes,
or
yes.
organs of their loved ones.
So our website is www.mohanfoundation.org. So when you go to our website, you will find an icon which says pledge your organs. So if
Hmm.
you click on the pledge your organs, you can pledge to donate your organs. So that's the first important step anyone can take. When I'm alive, I'm pledging to donate my organs after I am gone.
Hmm.
So that is an expression of wish that I would like to donate my organs. But the most important thing that I would like to convey through this is that not just pledging of organs is enough. You have to tell your family that you would like to donate your organs. Because when I am brain dead, I cannot get up from the ventilator and call Mohan Foundation or tell the hospital people. It's the family that plays an important role. So that is why we say eye and organ donation is all about family. So please discuss your wish with the family and tell them that you would like to have your organs to be donated. That's the first thing that anyone can do. The second thing that you can do is to become a volunteer. We have a Gift of Life ambassador program. So if you would like to become a volunteer, we call it the Gift of Life Ambassador, and you can do an online program. It's a 4-hour program where you get to know everything about organ donation. So you can, once you go through this program, you become a ambassador and we'll give you a certificate. That means you become a volunteer of organ donation.
Hmm.
That's the second thing you can do. The third thing that you can do is if you would like to become a grief counselor, if you're a young person doing social work or allied health service sciences, and you want to become a transplant coordinator or a grief counselor, you can undergo the training that we provide. We have 1.5 months online program. It's called the Transplant Coordinators Professional Course. So you can undergo this training program. This information is also available on the homepage of our website. The fourth one is the most important one, that all of our work is, done purely out of from the philanthropy of the society, because we don't charge anything to the recipient. We don't pay anything to the donor family. We are guided by the Transplantation of Human Organs Act. The Human Organs Act prevents any commercial dealings in organs. Organs are to be donated, not to be bought or sold. So the work that we do is absolutely free. So if we are running 9 offices across the country, naturally this requires funding. funding from well-meaning individuals, corporates, foundations, societies, international organizations. So this requires, funding. So we have donate now icon also on our website. So you can donate also online. If you'd like to know more about our program, you can write to us at info@mohanfoundation.org. Also, when you go to the contact, you will see all the offices across the country. Chennai, Hyderabad, Delhi, Mumbai, Nagpur, Chandigarh, Jaipur, Manipur also. Everywhere we have our offices. You can contact any of our offices or you can write to us. We work round the clock. You can always write to us, call us, and we have a scroll of our organ donation helpline number also. You can call us anytime, and we are always available to answer any queries that you may have on organ donation. The one
So
thing that all of us should remember is one donor can give a new lease of life to at least 9 people through the donation of 2 eyes, 2 kidneys, one liver, which can be split into two, 2 lungs, one heart, one pancreas. So, all of us have the power to give the gift of life. When I'm counseling the family, I tell them, God is nowhere, God is in you. You can play God by giving a new lease of life to at least 9 people. So, don't forget to discuss this with your family and say yes to organ donation.
www.mohanfoundation.org, all that Mrs. Raghuram has spoken about, the lease of life to almost 9 people from one particular individual, and that needs to be, of course, first made a pledge with as an individual, and then the families can be counseled. There are opportunities to become a
Even if you
volunteer.
don't pledge, it's okay. Even if you don't pledge, it's okay. But it's the family that plays an important role. So tell your family that you would like to live on even after you're gone. So say
Yes,
that
yes.
you would like to have your organs donated. They will remember and
And
call.
I think one very important aspect that comes out of my interaction with you from a logistic perspective is that while there must be somebody, since you have an office in Manipur, maybe in requirement of a particular organ in Manipur, say for example, and if you have a donor, say in Hyderabad, your network is very strong, because I know for a fact that these organs need to be transported in a certain way, and
Yes,
has to be provided within a couple of hours or a few hours
yes,
at most for it to be accepted by the recipient.
yeah.
And you have that network going.
There is an all India body called NOTO, National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization, which is the Government of India national body. So they take care of organ distribution across regions. But health being the state subject, organs are allocated within the state. But if there are no takers within the state, then it goes to the region. And if there are no takers within the region, then it goes out of the region to different parts of the country. That is how in newspapers you see heart from Surat was received in Bangalore, or some heart from Cochin has come to Hyderabad. All of this is facilitated by NOTO. But we coordinate with NOTO and make all of these organ allocation possible without any loss of time, because heart has to be used within 3 hours of retrieval, liver has to be used within 16 hours of retrieval, kidneys have to be used within 24 hours of retrieval. So we are mindful of all these logistics and we know how to actually take care of the organ allocation. There is a good system, good network available all over the country, so that no organ is ever wasted, because this is such a precious national resource.
Thank you so much. Normally, we have a conversation for about 20 minutes, and I think I still haven't yet covered the tip of the iceberg in knowing Mrs. Lalitha Raghuram and the kind of work that she is doing. I think it'll take a few more interactions for me to get to know you a little bit
Thank you.
more. So, thank you for taking the time. And if
Thank
there
you.
is any last note that you'd like to share with our audiences, I think that would be great. We'll wrap up then.
Like I mentioned, one organ donor can give a new lease of life to at least 8 or 9 people. So say yes to organ donation. Leave a legacy where you can always be remembered for the good deeds that you have done, even while leaving. And it doesn't cost anything, at zero cost. Imagine, at zero cost, you can do good. So think about it.
Thank you so much and keep doing good.
Thank you.